3 words for our next storyteller. Incredible. Pumped. It's a great word. Pumped. Business. The other Conor in this room, Conor O'Brien.
I love that word. Okay. Do not be misled. Bad association spoils useful habits. By a show of hands, does anyone know where that's from or what that is? Because you'll make my night. Oh, good, even better, I know something you don't. When I was young, there were several phrases, this one in particular was a scripture, that were emblazoned onto my mind by my very loving, warm, open-minded, but still very cautious mother. That is from 1 Corinthians 15:33. Do not be misled. Bad association spoils useful habits. It is an element of my childhood that has been emblazoned on my mind for probably my entire life. But that's just to give you a little bit of a foreglimpse of my mentality, probably my whole life, and mostly as a child. Once upon a time, in the hill section of Scranton, on the corners of Linden and Prescott, don't find me. I was raised in a very loving and warm family, a very diverse, colorful, exciting neighborhood, and my mother was very particular about who I associated with, to thereby spoil my useful habits, which I may add, at the time were Super Nintendo, my dog, and avoiding going to Lowe's and Home Depot at any cost. So, my mother was very particular about my associations. However, the neighborhood kids were pretty much fair game. Now, I live on a very nice block, and if you go about 4 or 5 doors down, you'll come to an iron cast gate that leads you down into a cute little courtyard called Naog Place. We're gonna get to that later. Next to the iron cast gate is a building that, for lack of a better word, let's call it trashy, if that, illuminates anything. And it had tenants come in about 2 weeks at a time. And they'd be in and out and in and out. And honestly, seriously, it's not their fault. Prison time is hard to miss. But with this came a lot of different kids in the neighborhood that would come in and out through cycles. And there were 3 young people whose names I'm going to change, and I also don't remember them. And let's call them Tom, Sally, and Harry, shall we? So I played with them often. There was one particular summer, I was 9 years old, and we played together often, and they were not what you'd call classy children, but what child really honestly is. So, I wasn't. So, we were playing together one time, and I come to meet them about 10 a.m. on a Wednesday. Walking down the street, really excited. I heard they just got a new dodgeball. Awesome. So we're coming up to it. I'm in my brand new Pokemon shirt, so proud of it. So proud of it. And I come down to Naog Place, because their backyard was connected to this courtyard, and I see horrible graffiti spray painted onto one of the houses there. Vulgar terms that my virgin eyes have still never seen again. And I asked them, I said, Sally, did you guys do this? And with the most sincere look in her eyes, she turned to me and said, of course we didn't do it. We just discovered this ourselves. Oh, I believe her as she puts the spray can into her purse. When you don't have a lot of friends as a child or in your neighborhood, you take what you can get. And I was not about to jeopardize this. I was accepted. I'm going with this. I have a new Pokemon shirt. They loved it. We're going with it. So in Naog Place, there is a string of yards connected by a small path. And we would jump through it and explore all the time and think we're so cool because we're going down to people's yards. And so it was me, Tom, Dick, Sarah, Hallie, whoever. The gang. It was the gang. It was me and the gang. And we're walking down and we're trotting down this path. And all of a sudden, I hear the loudest crash I've ever heard. And I turned around, and at the time, for a 9-year-old, it looked like this $1,000 pot had been completely smashed everywhere. You can get it at IKEA for $29.95. I was so flummoxed. I turned to him and said, Tom, did you do this? And once again, with the most sincere eyes ever, like the Barrymores they were, they turned to me and they said, no, I didn't do that, as he brushed the ceramic dust off of his hand. Okay, maybe he didn't do it. Bad association, spoiled useful habits. Maybe bad association, mom. So, I still could not come to terms with the fact that maybe these aren't the friends for me. So then we, of course, start to, decide what's next, what's happening, when I will never forget it. A large, burly, barrel-chested man in a white beater, long, greasy blonde hair, basketball shorts of some team come out, and in a voice that I can't imitate, "What nonsense is this?" That I swear only us and aquatic mammals thousands of miles away could hear. "What nonsense is this?" So of course we run, because that's what you do. So we just darted down the path, past the Iron Cascade, jumped onto their porch. They open their front door, they run and they close the door. I'm alone on the porch. I know, right? So I'm standing there and I don't know what to do. Okay, I should probably just go home, but they said, wait here. Oh my God, my parents are gonna kill me. What am I gonna do? 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 When it happened, bright blue and white car, Scranton's finest, PD pulls up right to the front of the house. Like anything in nature, any animal will respond with either flight or fight. I got on all fours and hid behind a pillar. I had no choice. Soon as the cop gets to the door, knocks on the door, the mother answers it. She comes into it. The first thing she does before addressing the fact there's a police officer on your porch just picks me up from behind the pillar and just holds me. It was horrible. She's holding me there and I'm just shaking with fear. And the cop's trying to say, you know, some people have complained that possibly your children or other children, looking right at me, are causing mischief in the neighborhood. And she went off into a tirade and this and that and this and that. Finally, the cop just said, I don't want to have this call again, and left. They all come out and we have a big trashy laugh. It was hysterical, getting away with crime. So, and then they're talking to me and I'm about to go home and the mother just grabs my hand and goes, "Our secret, right?" Children, tell your parents everything. That's not true, but whatever. So I'm like, yeah, that's fine, I gotta go. I have this Bulbasaur, I'm gonna go. And I just darted down into my home, ran into my house, and I believe at the time I just cradled my dog for 2 hours in the fetal position. However, and while of course as grown adults we make our own decisions, and we find our own paths, and we choose who our associates are, 1 Corinthians 15:33 will be ever emblazoned on my mind, because you will get caught, and because things can be bought at IKEA.